Indicator 14 looks at what activities students who had IEPs when they left high school are doing regarding post-secondary or higher education and/or employment within the first year after they left school. The manner of the student's exit from school doesn't matter for this indicator. The former student could have graduated, aged out, or dropped out. Data is gathered using a phone survey each year. After a student has been out of school for 1 year, attempts are made to contact them to find out what educational and employment activities they have been involved in. This indicator is divided into 3 groups. Part A looks at the percentage of former students who were enrolled in higher education within the year after leaving high school. Part B includes the former students from Part A who were enrolled in higher education, plus those who were engaged in competitive employment. Part C includes the former students from Part A and B, plus those who were engaged in other education, such as Job Corps or adult education, or in some other employment, such as working for pay in self-employment or for a family business. Group A is the percent of the former students who had active IEPs at the time they left school and were enrolled in higher education within 1 year of leaving high school. To be counted, the former student, within a year of leaving high school, had to have been enrolled on a full or part-time basis in a community college 2-year program or a college or university 4 or more year program for at least 1 complete term. This is reported as a percentage of all the former students who respond to the survey. The baseline was established in 2016 as it was the first year that we started using a phone survey to directly contact the former students. Although there was a slight dip in 2017, the general trend is upward with an increasing percentage enrolling in higher education. Given the number who typically respond to the survey, a 1% change equates to around 4 former students. The most recent target was 30%, and the actual percentage that year was 23.78%. So we've seen an increase, but not enough of an increase to meet our targets. The second table shows the projected percentages based on the overall trend from the previous years. These percentages are statistical estimates of what we can expect for the next 6 years. There are 3 sets of projections. The middle one is based only on the trend line, with an ending percentage of 32.68 in 2025. The lower projections and higher projections are estimates based on how stable values have been in the past. The lower estimate shows an ending percentage of 28.21, and the higher estimate's ending percentage would be 37.16. Our task is to determine the target for indicator 14A. Should our new target be the same as our old target, 30%? Should our new target reflect the lower projection estimate of 28.21%? Or should our new target reflect the higher projection estimate of 37.16%? Group B includes the former students from Group A who were enrolled in higher education, but then also adds those who were engaged in competitive employment within the year after leaving high school. To be counted as competitively employed, the former student must have worked for pay at or above minimum wage in a setting that included others who are non-disabled for at least 20 hours per week for at least 90 days. And this is reported as a percentage of all the former students who respond to the survey. Again, the baseline was established in 2016 because it was the first year that we started using a phone survey to directly contact the former students. There is not a strong trend across these years, although the percentages have increased slightly. And again, given the number who typically respond to the survey, a 1% change equates to around 4 former students. The first table shows our targets for the previous 4 years, the baseline established in 2016, and the percentages which were achieved for those 4 years. The most recent target was 80%, and the actual percentage that year was 66.19%, so we have not been reaching our target. The second table shows the projected values based on the percentages in previous years. We don't have 3 sets of projections here because the trend line was so flat and there was very little variation among the percentages in previous years. There was a very slight general increase across previous years, so the projections show a slight increase ending at 68.55% in 2025. Our task is to decide what we want our targets to be for this indicator for the next 6 years. The latest target was 80%, so the question is, do we keep this target the same, lower this target to something closer to the projected value, or raise the target? Group C includes the former students from Groups A and B who were enrolled in higher education or competitively employed, but then also adds those who were engaged in other types of post-secondary education or employment. The definition of other post-secondary education is to have been enrolled on a full or part-time basis in an education or training program, such as Job Corps, adult education, workforce development, or a vocational technical school, which is less than a 2-year program, for at least 1 complete term within the year after leaving high school. The definition of other employment is to have worked for pay or have been self-employed for a period of at least 90 days within the year after leaving high school. This includes working in a family business, such as a farm, store, fishing, catering services, etc. This is reported as a percentage of all the former students who respond to the survey. The most recent target was 85%, and the actual percentage that year was 76.5%, so we have not been reaching our targets. The second table shows the projected values based on the percentages in previous years. These percentages show a slight downward trend through 2025. This trend was significantly influenced by last year's drop, which could have been impacted by the pandemic. Our task is to decide what we want our targets to be for this indicator for the next 6 years. The latest target was 85%, so the question is, do we think we should keep this the same, lower this target to something closer to the projected values, or raise the target? We need your input and want to hear from you.